Hi guys, Danny here at Partay. So I just finished watching a video that was in my recommended feeds this morning. I look back at the date and I think it was published the end of May of this year, so not too long ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago or so. But I thought it would be good to share this because some of the information that Gustafson, excuse me, was sharing in this upload sort of it mimics a number of the things that I was explaining in our Partay Difference upload just a few days ago. And I say mimics, it's more, if anybody's mimicking anybody, it would be us trying to mimic some of the great work that Screen Innovations has done. Now, those of you guys who follow me, you probably already guessed. I don't know if I've ever said it or not, but I'm a big fan of Screen Innovations. Now, there's other good, really good screen companies out there, but to me, they have really led the charge in ambient light rejection technology. Some of the really cool optical effects and capabilities that they built into their screens. Just you don't get to be the first person to have a projection screen on a space station by being sucky. So the bottom line is they're the kings as far as I'm concerned. Now I'm not a big fan of the cost, but as far as the technology goes, I'm a very big fan. But there's two things I want to highlight that are in this upload, and I don't want to do any kind of copyright things by showing the upload on here, but I do want to share the link. I'm going to put it in the comments, and I'm going to put it in the description so that you guys, if you want to, you can go check it out for yourself. And Ryan basically goes through the different screens that they've created, not all of them, but a handful that they've created over the years and sort of what their capabilities are. Two things, once again, that I want to highlight is he makes a statement, I think it's towards the end of the video, he makes a statement that they were looking for the right types of particles for one of their screens. And they'd looked through a number of different additives, particles, that they could add to the screen to enhance the screen's reflectivity and balance and things like that. And that's what we're struggling with now. If you remember from our Partay Difference upload, one of the things that we've struggled with in Contrabright is finding a particle that will do what we need it to do from a molecular structure standpoint. You say, well, it sounds awfully, scientific and complicated. Well, really, if you think about it, all of the additives that you would put into a screen have a molecular component. And your liquid additives, and which is what they cast their films from. Think about it, guys. All of their films start the same way that we do, in a sense that they start as a liquid, they're cast into a film, the film's created, and then, but they're able to use a lot more precision in their machining than what we can even think about doing at this point. It just takes a lot more money. There's millions of dollars in tooling up for that kind of precision. So they far outweigh anything that we can do as far as from a technology standpoint. Now, the end result can be more subtle, right? So you can spend a ton of money just to get, a subtle difference. But it is still precision. But the particles are difficult because think of it as like if anybody remembers what Weeble Wobbles are. Weeble Wobbles were these just little toys, and they were sort of an egg shape, but they were narrower on one side or one end than they were on the other end. So they would always want to sort of self-right themselves. If you pushed them over, they would just kind of do this and come right back, right? It's the same concept with some of the molecular structures. You're looking for structures that will essentially organize themselves in a specific way. And it's very hard to do, especially when you're spraying or rolling a coating to get things that will organize themselves. For one, they're never going to, in a spray or roll on, they're never going to organize themselves as efficiently, anywhere near as efficient as what this kind of precision would do. But the hope is that you get more than less that organize themselves. So that's what we're pursuing with the Contrabright, which would be a white screen that would offer you a lot of contrast, but still also be ambient light fighting. Okay. And then the second thing I want to highlight is when he starts talking about the microstructure. So, this is something that we've talked about as being key because ALR means ambient light rejection. It doesn't mean ambient light resistant. It doesn't mean ambient light helping. It means ambient light rejection. You're reflecting essentially the light from off axis areas, and off axis meaning that not coming from the projector itself front on. You're reflecting that back to where it's coming from. And they can't reflect all of it, but they do a very good job of being efficient with sometimes 90% from certain angles, and then maybe as low as 60% from other angles. But that's something that's really key to true, when you see true ambient light rejection in a title out there, and it's a spray on or a roll on coating, there's nothing true. It's false. There's no ambient light rejection from any of those kinds of screens. If it's a black screen, it's just absorbing more light, but it's not rejecting anything. And for key, I always throw out luminous. If you look at his in his living room, he tells you it's A.L.R, but yet you can see the light from those two pot lights up above his screen, his wall screen. You can see that that screen's not rejecting any of that light. That light is tearing up that screen where it hits it. So, true A.L.R is going to include some form of microstructures. Bottom line, anything other than that is just a matter of using a darker screen to help absorb a little more of your ambient light. You can use diffusion properties, which is what we do on the surface. And then if you mix that, which Diamante, our screen, does, you mix a diffusion layer on the surface with multi-layers that actually filter out certain light as it comes through, and then increase gain as it approaches the reflective point. That's what we tried to bring to the market out there. So it's our way of trying to replicate what these high-end screen companies are doing, but doing it in a more practical fashion with less expensive components. Almost everything that we put in our screens is liquid. So if that helps, but once again, I'm going to put the link in here. I think it's good if you're really interested in projection. It's a good watch, and you guys have a good day. Take care.